What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel for another video. Today I've got a deck profile for you guys of a deck that I've been playing recently at a local and at a league cup. I've had a lot of fun with it. I've had a decent amount of success, and I was even able to take a 6 prize turn at the league cup I played at this past Saturday at Gamers Gauntlet in Clinton Township, Michigan. And of course, I'm talking about Urshifu Inteleon, one of the forgotten decks all the way back from Battle Styles. This deck is so much fun to play in the current standard format, Battle Styles-Scarlet Violet. It's got ways to beat most matchups. It completely destroys Lost Box, and it reinvigorated my love for Pokemon cards by basically being more than just a bang bang, my shiny cardboard, it's your shiny cardboard type deck. It requires thought, planning multiple turns in advance, and you can come from behind and take some massive knockouts and big prize swings with this deck. You'll notice that this list is very similar to the list that Tobias Stromdahl used to get 11th place at the European International Championships this year. And it's almost exactly the same. There is a 1-card difference I'll talk about when we get to it. But let's just jump right into it. I can't wait to show off this list to you guys. I've been having a ton of fun with it. And yeah, let's start with the Pokemon. So for the Pokemon lineup, we have a 3-3 Inteleon VMAX line. We've got a 2-2 Urshifu VMAX line to support it. We have a 2-2 Octillery line with Rapid Strike Search ability. We've got a 2-1 Drapion V-Star line, and then we've got 1 copy of Lumineon V, 1 copy of Medicham V, and 1 copy of Radiant Alakazam. Now, initially, you guys might be questioning this 2-1 Drapion V-Star line, which I'll talk about real quick. This deck loses so incredibly hard to Mew. You really need the 2 Drapion to be able to knock out 2 Mew VMAX preferably and steal a win when you normally wouldn't be able to with such a bad matchup. Now, if you're thinking, well, Mew just plays 4 Path nowadays, that's where Octillery comes in with that Rapid Strike Search ability, being able to search out your Tower of Water stadiums to bump Path, and then you use all of your Ball Search cards to find one of the Drapion and take a knockout just like that. The Drapion V-Star comes up in scenarios where Urshifu and Inteleon just aren't doing enough damage to take a win, and especially in the Lugia matchup, this ability, Hazard Star, is great for paralyzing your opponent and buying yourself a turn where you can set up damage later with Double Gunner, GMAX Rapid Flow, Yoga Loop, Painful Spoons, and all your other tools to take big swings and win the game. Now, generally with this deck, what you want to do is spread damage counters around the board with Inteleon VMAX's Double Gunner ability, which lets you discard a water energy from your hand and put 2 damage counters on 2 of your opponent's benched Pokemon. When you're spreading all those damage counters around, you then use Radiant Alakazam's Painful Spoons ability to move 2 damage counters per turn from one of your opponent's Pokemon to another to set up knockouts down the road with Medicham V's Yoga Loop attack, which lets you put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. And if you take a knockout with that attack, you get to take another turn. So by doing that, you can combo it with Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX's GMAX Rapid Flow to knock out 2 more Pokemon and take 4, 5, and even 6 prizes at a time with 1 turn, essentially. I was even able to pull off the 6 prize turn at a League Cup this past Saturday when my opponent left me a Mimikyu EX with 30 damage on it. I moved some damage to it with the Alakazam. I used Yoga Loop on it to knock it out, and then with my extra turn, I was able to GMAX Rapid Flow a Lumineon V and Guardia EX on the bench to take 6 prizes in 1 turn and steal the game out from right under my opponent's nose. So that's the Pokemon lineup. Next, we will go over the items. Get them out here. All right, I am going to be including the tools with the items here because even though they're different, I still group them together when I lay out my deck lists. So to find all of those Pokemon you need for that combo, we've got 4 Ultra Ball and 4 Nest Ball as our Ball Search cards. We've got 2 Energy Retrieval, 2 Escape Rope, and then 1 Battle VIP Pass, 1 Hisuian Heavy Ball, 1 Energy Search, and 2 Force Seal Stones. So like I mentioned, there are a lot of Pokemon that you need to pull off those combos, those big prize turns. We've got 8 Ball Search cards here. Just maxing these out really allows you to find all those parts consistently and pull off the combos and find your Drapion V-Star, find your Medicham, your Radiant Alakazam when you need to. You do get to search out 1 Rapid Strike Pokemon per turn if you want with Octillery's Rapid Strike Search ability, but you're still going to need a lot more, so you got to max out both of these Ball Search lines there. The 2 Energy Retrieval is something that I've questioned when playing this deck. May seem like a lot because you can grab 2 basic energies back, But considering that you may want to use multiple double gunners per turn, and there's only 6 water energy in this deck, which I'll get to later, having these just as an option to grab them back, especially when you may need one for VMAX Rapid Flow later, is just great to have. They're also searchable with Irida. All of these cards, with the exception of Forest Sealstone, are searchable with Irida, and that makes it really, really easy to find them when you need them for the plan that you made in your head a couple turns in advance. You've got 2 Escape Rope in here. I think this deck definitely needs at least 1 hard switching out, whether that be a hard switch or an Escape Rope. I like Tobias's use of 2 rope because if you save 1 for later, your opponent may try to Boss's Orders or Radiant Alakazam to stick it in the active because it is not a Rapid Strike Pokemon and it does not benefit from Tower of Water's free retreat. You may need an item in your deck later to get that out of the active spot at the end of the game. And if you leave one of these in the deck, you can always use your Support of Return to Irida for it, and then continue on with your comboing and your striking to end the game. We've got the 1 copy of VP Pass for the same reason as the Escape Ropes. It's Irida searchable. If you're going second and it's your first turn, using an Irida to grab this 1 VIP Pass, should it be in the deck, and search out any 2 Pokemon you want that are basics, put them on your bench, is great for helping get all those Inteleon Vs, the Urshifu V, your Remoraid's out to get set up. We've also got 1 copy of Heavy Ball, considering that this deck plays, I think, 2 1-ofs that are essential to the combo, Medicham V and Radiant Alakazam. Being able to find those out of the prizes, should they be prized, is awesome. Again, it's a researchable because it's an item card. And you can even grab, let's say you've prized both your Urshifu V, you can grab one of those, maybe take a knockout with a double gunner Radiant Alakazam move, get the Heavy Ball back, find another basic Pokemon. Just great. I think one of these can find use in nearly every deck in Standard nowadays. Love to have it. The 1 Energy Search is where my list starts to differ from Tobias's a little bit. Tobias in this place played an Echoing Horn, and in a local tournament and a League Cup, between my, I think, 11 rounds I've played with Urshifu, I have not found a scenario where Echoing Horn can be reliably pulled off yet. Either my opponent has a full bench already, or there's nothing in the discard that I want to bring up. So in this case, I put in Energy Search because sometimes with only 6 water energy, you're whiffing the water energy. You don't always have it when you need it. Being able to just search one out, grab it with Irida, grab the Irida off Lumineon, grab your water energy, double gunner to set up that perfect math. It's just so nice to have. Yeah, this was a pretty easy decision for me to add. And then even though they're not items anymore, they're tools. Don't grab them with your Iridas. We've got 2 Forest Sealstone in here. Now, I mentioned earlier that in your poor matchups, you may want to use the Drapion V-Star to paralyze something in the active, especially in the Lugia matchup or Guardy matchup where they don't play hard switching cards. You may want to use Hazard Star, but if you're playing against a Lost Box or something else that plays a ton of switching outs, Hazard Star is not very useful when you don't want to put a Drapion on the field. Having 2 Forest Sealstone here to grab any card you want on any of your Vs is awesome. You can put this on your Lumineon, you can put this on your Inteleon VMAX, you can put this on your Urshifu VMAX. Since those Pokemon don't have any other tools in this deck to use, you can just slap it on the first available V that you want and save it for later if you want, or you can use it immediately. I've sometimes had to use it to grab a draw supporter to get out of a bad first hand. I've used it to grab VIP Pass on the first turn to put some Inteleon Vs into play. It's just so good to have. You can slap 2 down on different Vs if you're worried about them getting gusted, save 1 for later, use it to find a piece of your 6 prize turn you're planning at the end of the game. Really nice to have 2 copies of these in this deck. Now we're going to get to the supporter line, which is definitely crucial to this deck's success because this deck doesn't play any Pokemon that draw naturally. It doesn't play Bibarel, doesn't play Comfy, doesn't play anything else like that. So these draw supporters are the only way you're going to be seeing more cards out of your deck than what you can grab per turn off of Rapid Strike Search. We've got 4 Professor's Research, and that is nearly non-negotiable. We've got 2 Irida, 2 Melanie, and we've got a Clara and a Karina's Focus. And the 4 Research, like I said, is pretty much non-negotiable. Seeing 7 cards out of every deck is awesome. It's always going to be. It should probably be a 4 of in any build of this deck ever. Even though you may think that Irida is great because it grabs water Pokemon, just being able to see more cards and hit into stuff you might want to grab off Rapid Strike Search later is awesome. One thing that I've done in tournament is I have used my research for turn before using Rapid Strike Search. If I need like 2 or 3 cards that are Rapid Strike cards, you don't want to grab one off of Rapid Strike Search, hit into it off of a research, and then realize you could have grabbed the other thing you didn't need later. So using research every turn is awesome. It's a great game plan. You can never go wrong with it. But if you're going second into your first turn, like I said, you can use one of these 2 Iridas to grab that Battle VIP Pass. You can use it to grab an item card later in the game, like a Retrieval for double gunners. You can use it to grab your Suing Heavy Ball to grab one of your 1-ofs out of the prizes. There's only 2 of these because you don't really want to be using it every turn because, like I said, it's kind of slow. Doesn't really see a lot of cards out of your deck, but it's always just nice to have. The 2 Melanie, I was really skeptical of at first, but as I played more, I realized that Melanie is amazing towards the end of the game to set up that big turn you've been planning all game by getting a water energy out of your discard and putting it onto Urshifu, drawing 3 cards, and then using VMAX Rapid Flow. Now, you may have already known this, but if you double gunner away a water energy, it guarantees there's one there at the end of the game for Melanie, and you can even use it in a pinch to draw 3 cards to help you get out of a tough spot if you're in the early game and you have a bad hand. Now, the 1 Clara and 1 Karina's Focus are another spot in the deck where you can open up some customization options if you want. I'm going to talk about the Clara first. Now, Clara is your only form of Pokemon recovery in this deck, so if you have to use a research at the beginning of the game and you're ditching your Medicham V or your Radiant Alakazam or something that you really, really want later, don't worry. If you know that your Clara is in the deck, you can go ahead and do it because you can find this later in the game, grab that Medicham V back, bench it, go in with the Tower of Waters, double gunner, Yoga Loop, go right ahead. It also, in a pinch, functions as an extra energy retrieval. I have used it like that in a game before where my retrievals got researched way early. I needed a water energy back. I had Clara in hand. I grabbed the 2 basic energies off of Clara, grabbed some water energies, attach 1 for turn, double gunner 1, be able to Gmax Rapid Flow, take 3 prizes, 4 prizes, you never know. Clara, I think, is definitely staying in the deck no matter what. And then Karina's Focus, you might think, wait, that's just dropped to 6. Why would you not just want to play a research instead, see 7 cards? Well, sometimes you got a small hand and you might need 3 of those cards in your hand. If you can play it down a little bit, you can grab this with Rapid Strike Search. Rapid Strike Search unlocks so much in this deck. It unlocks your draw support if you have Karina's Focus and you need it in a pinch. It unlocks your Tower of Waters as your path counter, allowing you to use Radiant Alakazam's Painful Spoon's ability and Inteleon VMAX's Double Gunner. It's just so good, and I even considered using 2 of these in a deck because Karina's is just so good when you're able to search it out with Rapid Strike Search and get you out of those tight spots when you're under Path Lock or something else and you just need to draw a couple of cards. So that's it for the supporter lineup. The only thing we've got left is stadiums and energies. And as for stadiums, I think I might have said it already, but there's just 3 Tower of Waters. 2 is a little bit too few, and 4 is just a little bit too many. Having 3 ensures that if you're just researching every turn, you'll occasionally hit into 1, and also it ensures that if you prize 1, you'll still have 2 to be able to use to bump path to the peak, to use your Drapions if you're in a Mew matchup or playing Control or something weird like that that's trying to lock you with path. Just 3 is kind of that perfect Goldilocks zone between 2 and 4 where it's consistent that you'll always have it, but it's not too much that it's clunking up your deck. And then in terms of energies, we just maxed out our Rapid Strike energy at 4 in the deck, and we've got 6 water energy. Now, if you're looking online at Urshifu and Inteleon lists, you'll see that a lot of them are playing 7 water energy. I think that might be a little bit too many. You can play 7 water energy if you're not going to play the 1-of energy search, which is an option. But the fact that you can not search out the water energy with anything in this deck, I prefer just to play the 1 energy search and 6 water energy. And that way, if I'm whiffing energy really bad, I can just grab the energy search off an Arita or something like that and just have a water energy whenever I want it straight out of the deck. And then 4 Rapid Strike energy is obvious, but even if you prize 2 of your Rapid Strike energy, the deck can still function. I had a game in my League Cup this past Saturday, and I had prized 2 Rapid Strike energy, but if you read closely on Inteleon VMAX's attack, you're putting a Rapid Strike energy if you want back into your hand every turn. Gmax Spiral does 70 damage and 70 more if you put the Rapid Strike energy or any energy card, it's going to be Rapid Strike energy though, back in your hand. You do 70 more damage, hit 140, can set up some good math, and you get to preserve that Rapid Strike energy in your hand. And should your Rapid Strike energy get disrupted and put back in your deck with the likes of Judge or something, don't forget, we have Rapid Strike Search to go in and grab one back out of the deck no matter where it gets put back on the bottom with an Iono next format or shuffled into the deck with Judge right now. Rapid Strike Search can just grab it back every turn, and after you use Inteleon VMAX stack, it goes back to your hand, so you can just immediately slap it down to fill that requirement for Yoga Loop or Gale Thrust or Gmax Rapid Flow later in the game if you want. So being able to always have one of those is great, and that's why you play 4, but if you prize 1 or 2, don't worry about it because you can make do with only 2, maybe 3 for an entire game. So that wraps up the 60 cards. They're all out of order now, so I won't fan them all out for you. But this deck has been so much fun in this format. In a format where Lost Box can be too complicated and flower selectings are ripping your heart out, or Lugia is bricking, or Guardy is facing Lost Box with Galarian Moltres, and you've got a type disadvantage, and you can't find your Ralts, and they're all prized. This deck is a great breath of fresh air. I was even able to take it to 4-0 at a local tournament and top 8 at a League Cup, so it definitely has good matchups and ways that it can see success and get results. And I hope you guys enjoyed this deck profile video about it. Coming up on the channel, we may have some more of these deck profiles. We may have some more gameplay coming up soon. And we are even planning something special to do for a Paldea Evolved pre-release battle. So make sure you're subscribed and stay tuned for more content coming soon. And I hope you guys enjoyed Urshifu Inteleon deck profile. See you next time.